The news is a shit show these days, and we're here to give you a break from the white supremacist media bullshit by bringing you the shitty news so that you can feel less like shit because you know the people discussing all the fucked up shit give a shit about you and the shitty situations you deal with every day. So shit. Pour yourself a glass and settle in for Father Teresa's wine cellar.
Action. Whammo blammo there.
So you saw that there was like the homeschool situation where a bunch of homeschoolers are like being trained to be Nazis
in Ohio.
Yes, so there's an update about that. Woo! And it's going as well as you would expect in America. After investigating the neo-Nazi homeschool network in Upper Sandusky, Ohio, the Ohio Department of Education appears to have concluded that the group is doing nothing wrong. Logan and Katya Lawrence were unmasked last week as leaders of a neo-Nazi homeschool network with thousands of members, known as Dissident Homeschool on Telegram, by Vice News and the Huffington Post, based on research from the anti-fascist collective group called Anonymous Comrades Collective. The Lawrences openly advocate white supremacist ideologies with the aim of making the children they teach to become wonderful Nazis. Katya Lawrence said she started the group because she was having a tough time finding Nazi-approved material for her homeschooled children. And
Nazi-approved?
Yes. And shared lesson plans that include Hitler quotes, the cake she baked for his birthday, and recordings of her children singing Sieg Heil in unison. Days after the news broke, the Ohio Department of Education said that it was investigating the Lawrences and the neo-Nazi homeschool network. Stephanie Siddons, the interim superintendent of the public instruction at the Department of Education. They have too many fucking titles on shit.
Yeah.
She told Vice News that she was outraged and saddened by the news, adding that there is no place for hate-filled, hurtful instruction in Ohio schools, including in our state's homeschooling community. But in a statement to Vice News, the findings from the Department of Education's investigation seem to have concluded that there is nothing the department can do to sanction the Lawrences or anyone else doing something similar due to the state's homeschool policies. While there are certain minimum requirements for home education, the Department of Education is not involved in the excusal of a particular student from attendance in order to participate in home education. Moreover, the district superintendent's review of home education is limited to ensuring the minimal education requirements are met and that the academic assessment report shows a child is demonstrating reasonable proficiency. There you go. So the superintendent of the county where the Lawrences live, Wyandotte County, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The department's statement did not reference the Lawrences or the neo-Nazi homeschool network and instead focused on homeschool regulations in the state. They said, quote, "Parents or guardians who decide to educate their children at home are responsible for choosing the curriculum and course of study. They select the curriculum and educational materials and take responsibility for educating their children." So, there are currently 51,000 homeschooled children in Ohio, and a bunch of them are Nazis, and the state's not doing anything about it. And keep in mind that Republicans in the Ohio Senate are also, knowing that this story exists, pushing current legislation that would even further relax homeschool oversight. A bill sponsored by lawmakers in Ohio would increase tax breaks that homeschool parents can receive from $250 to $2,000. An Ohio legislature also added that if programs perpetuate anti-Semitism, hatred, and bigotry, those are just a handful of people. Although Democrats have argued that hate should not be foisted on future generations or on Ohio's communities, Ohio state government leaders must address this apparent failure of the system they created. Okay.
Apparent failure?
Yes.
It seems like it.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been a whoopsie daisy in there.
Sure. Yeah, and then where's the quote in here? Okay, so this is from the guy who's trying to gut the public school funding. Said, quote, "I hope, frankly, people will not try to take some political advantage or policy advantage, basically trying to decide that a couple of sociopaths somewhere in Ohio who are doing strange things, that somehow should affect policy on the rest of the state. Doing strange things. The lady got on camera and said, 'I'm raising my children to be Nazis.' That's doing strange things if you live in Ohio." Whew. So that's what's going on. So right now, There's thousands of children literally being trained to be Nazis, and the Department of Education is not going to do anything about it. They're going to continue being trained like that. Meanwhile, Texas is still saying that slaves were relocated migrant workers, and Florida is banning African American history, Black history from its curriculum, while there is an entire generation of children being raised as Nazis, but y'all don't understand how systemic oppression works.
And while Twitter, and then culturally, Twitter and YouTube algorithms are aiding this.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going on there. Ugh. Wow.
It's gonna be pretty bad.
It's gonna be really bad.
And I just hope to be able to work from home, and basically anytime we go grocery shopping, I'd like to do that early as hell in the morning, because these public grocery store shooters, they seem to not be early birds.
Yeah, they do not seem to be early birds.
And there will be more of those in the decades, right?
Oh, fuck yeah.
They're kids now, but keep in mind, like, it's only about, if they're a kid, right, 7, 8, 9, hell, even up to, like, people are comfortable using the word kid, I think up until, like, mid-teens, then you really want to, like, lean in on the word teenager.
Yes.
So if they're 9, in 10 years from this moment speaking, they're 19 and they're ready to shoot some shit up, just as Rittenhouse was. What, Kyle, cool kid Kyle, the killer boy. Rittenhouse, yeah. What was he, 17 when he wouldn't put that work in?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they're gonna go put that work in, and I don't want to be out there when they do it. And again, folks, if you don't have kids, don't have kids. The school's gonna get shot up. It's gonna happen. And also, they're super expensive.
Yes.
Folks, this is